Yo, welcome back. Today we're going over fox hunting on the Portapack H4M Mayhem or the H2, so either one. But fox hunting is a pretty cool game, if you will, that uses radio direction finding to locate a signal of sorts at a distance using a radio, your H4M. There's some bigger units out there, like the Kraken, for instance, that is more of a robust kind of an industry standard, if you will, to find and to do radio direction finding. What is it? Well, it was discovered in 1888 by Heinrich Hertz. If you don't know who Hertz is, then you might want to do some research. If you've heard of Hertz, well, it's the same guy that pretty much discovered the radio frequencies. Hertz found out that radio waves have direction, that they flow in a specific direction, and that's where we get radio direction finding. From there, it was adopted in 1916. The U.S. Navy used it to pinpoint enemy ships and to then seek and destroy, pretty much. And from there, it just kind of grew, and the FCC now uses it if you are a lawbreaker. They will... if there's enough instances against you in a specific area, the SEC will then launch an investigation into the area, and then they will use radio direction finding equipment like a Kraken and whatever else they have to their disposal to then locate you, ask you to please stop doing whatever you're doing, whether that's transmitting on frequencies that you're not allowed to transmit on. If you're transmitting on frequencies that you are allowed to transmit on, but you're being a nuisance, jamming, spoofing, pretty much, yeah, that's what they will use radio direction finding to find you and to please ask you to stop with usually a notice and then possibly fine, and then worst case scenario, jail time. So that's kind of just a brief history of radio direction finding, but we're looking at fox hunting. The H4M has an app on there for fox hunting. That's pretty cool that we can then use the H4M to kind of do these fun games that a lot of ham groups do. I haven't done one yet, but my local group where I live at, they put on weekly fox hunts in the summertime, and they'll usually take like a small transmitter that they build themselves out of a Raspberry Pi. This one's bought, or other similar things that they built from scratch. And then they'll go and hide them in the woods, up on a mountain, or if they get access or permission in buildings, like a library, for instance, you could take something like this small and go hide it in a hollowed out book. And then it's a pretty fun kind of event that you can then take your gear into the field and then go and find a fox. Antennas used for radio direction finding are going to be your Yaggis. So this one here, you can't see it because it's so big, but I want to pull it out. This guy here, this is a 2-element Yaggi. The design is by K6ARK. If you are a friend of the Ham Radio Crash Course, you may know that name. But this is a simple 2-element Yaggi built out of some 3D printed parts and some aluminum arrow shafts, and then a cheap BNC to BNC cable that I then chopped up and did my elements attached to. So speaking of 3D printed stuff, that brings us to today's sponsor, PCBWay. If you need something from concept to creation, PCBWay has you covered. They have great prices. They're simple to use. Their website is super user friendly. They can do project to creation. They have great material selection. They have great turnaround time. And I think that PCBWay is worth a mention on 3D printed stuff. So if you are wanting to build one of these and you don't have a 3D printer, these little kind of bridges here, and then this handle I designed myself, PCBWay can really get you moving in the right direction to get your stuff printed. Yeah, check out PCBWay if you haven't. So let's get into the Portapack H4M over here. And to do that, we're just going to load up the fox hunt. So my unit's on, and we're going to go over here down to receive, and then we're going to scroll down to fox hunt. This is a fox, this guy right here. This is the Bionics Micro Fox MF50. Now, I bought this guy with my own monies. It was not given to me. It is not sponsored by Bionics. They have no idea that I exist. But this is a great little fox. The downside is it's expensive. So if you are wanting to get into fox hunting, you may need to just kind of look at building your own unit. Like I said, this guy was expensive, roughly about $100. You know, all it is just a small little transmitter and then a battery. And then I added this antenna. This is a Diamond SRH 805S that I got from AliExpress for like $2 over Christmas. So cheap little antenna. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this guy on. And you can see the little blue light blinking there. Now on the Portapack, I am tuned to the frequency of 146,565. Now this guy is programmed from a PC using a web app, and it uses micro USB right there. And from there, you can program the frequency that you want to transmit on in the 2-meter band. It does 50 milliwatts, program the Morse code, the kind of tone. And then if you want to like change like the message in Morse code, you can program that too. So right now it's stock. It's gonna ping out every, I think it's 20 seconds or 30 seconds. It's little Morse code, which we'll hear in a second, and then it'll just repeat itself. So it is on. Once that light goes blue, we will be transmitting. So over here on the Portapack H4M, we're going to just set up a few things here off the bat. We've got our frequency there at the top. That's where we're at. We have our amp if we need to use our amp. Then we have our LNA, then VGA. So if you don't know, just double tap your second button there between your antenna and the reset button. So I believe that's your DFU button. Tap that and you can see that here that we have our RX saturation at 100. I kind of want that to be about 70 to 80. So we're going to try to get it there. I am really close to this transmitter. So we may not get there. We're going to try. I'm going to drop this down, maybe 40. Move that guy out of the way. There we go. 62, 50. We'll just go 50 right there. So my settings are going to be no amp is needed right now. My LNA is 40, then my VGA is 50. Yours will be different, of course, depending on what you're using. But you're going to see here on the screen that when the Fox goes off, which it is now, you're going to see at the top green line there that we are receiving something. Now, if I crank my volume up, we should be able to hear that tone. So what I'll do is I'll bring this over here and I'll have it close to my mic since I don't have the mic on it today. So that is the sound of what that Fox is transmitting at. These are weaker antennas that I'm using just for indoor use right now because I don't want to be transmitting too far out of my area because this is just for testing purposes. I am licensed. I am a general licensed ham radio operator, so I have appropriate licenses to transmit, but I don't really need to go outside my garage. So let's get into what we're looking at here. So if you see up here on the power, we can see that that decibel area is kind of going from 30 to 20 and then down. Now, how Foxes work is that you move your antenna in a direction that you think or that your signal is showing you that the Fox is at. So here we can see that it is going off. Now, if I turn my Fox in that direction, you can see that the decibels there went a lot lower. So now we're at 17 and then it just shut off. So now we're jumping back up to 30. When it kicks back on, you're going to see that those numbers drop way down. Now, if I bring the Fox closer to the H4M, you're going to see those numbers go almost down to 0. And that's going to help you indicate in a direction of where that Fox is transmitting at. So here we go. If I bring it closer, we're getting lower and lower. So you can see there that I have the Fox almost like right against that antenna and we're looking at a 0. Now, if I set this Fox off to the side over here, and I'm going to drop my volume down. I want to move this unit over here. And when this unit goes off, I'm going to swap antennas now. So don't forget that when you swap antennas out, you're going to want to go ahead and get out of the app and that we're not transmitting or receiving. It's usually best practices to turn the unit off, but for time's sake, I'm just going to disconnect that little guy. This is a Diamond SRH 805, which is similar. It's just a BNC version of the one that's on the Fox. And then we're going to plug in this 2-element Yaggi that I made here. And I'll post the link in the description for design here. And then I'll post all the material bills that you need from an Amazon store, which will be affiliated link to my Amazon account. Here is the Yaggi. Now I want to go back into Fox. we have the transmitter over here. I'm going to put it just right here, right out of frame. And when that guy goes off, I'm going to turn the antenna. And you can see here that we're at 0 dB now. If I turn it back this way, it jumps back up. Now, if I turn it down, we can see that we're receiving a lot better. I'm hitting my camera here, but you can see that we're back at 0 dB. I go up, we jump back up. So if you were to be walking around with this guy and say that fox is like, you know, in a tree over there and it goes off and I aim my antenna at the opposite direction away from the fox, that dB is going to go a lot higher. And then when I get closer to the fox, it goes a lot lower. So right now we're at 30. If I go down here, I'm away from the fox. The fox is off right now. When it kicks back on here in a second, I'm going to move the antenna in this direction. And then you can see that we are getting closer to that signal. So that is kind of how you would use a Yaggi antenna to help you find a fox, is by moving it left, right, up, down, turning its pattern, because remember, radio frequencies are going to travel in a specific way. So if your antenna is facing this way, you may not be receiving, but if you face it this way, you could be in that plane of field. So it's going to be different if you're using a loop antenna or a bi-directional loop antenna or a handheld radial antenna. Those are all going to be like different of how you maneuver them and use them to find that frequency. That's kind of the basics of fox hunting. Now, these areas over here, this mark and clear, we're going to get into kind of the future of what I believe is coming in a pipeline for the H4M, and that is the GPS location. So you can see in this bottom area right here that we have a half-loaded map. Now, there is development happening on the back end of a lot of the stuff with the ESP32 board and a GPS that is going to plug into the side here, right there, of the I2C connection, or some of you guys may call it GPIO connection. There are some boards in development that'll just plug in there and they have ESP32 and a GPS attached to them. And then from there, the GPS will interact with the H4M and it'll load your actual map of your location, and then it's going to help you pinpoint those foxes. So if you're playing a game, you can have multiple of these guys around a certain area, and then you can go and kind of pinpoint, you know, I have a signal over here, have one over here, one over here, and then you can drop those markers on the H4M, and then you can start locating and going in those routes that you want to find them at. So that's kind of the future of fox hunting for the H4M. Some antenna selections, I'll post those on the description as well, that you may want to check out if you are interested in fox hunting. They probably will be Amazon affiliate links, just FYI. I haven't tried yet with the Comet W100RX. I can't imagine why it wouldn't work. You know, it's a great reception antenna, and you can tune it to the frequency that you want. So 2 meter here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 elements up. So we can count from 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 meter. We can collapse it back down, and then we should be in a 2 meter bandwidth right there. So we can find out. Let's just drop this guy out of here. I'm going to dump that out. And then this is why I like BMC, because you can see in this video alone, we have gone through 3 different antennas already, and we can swap them up really, really fast. So here we are. Right there, I have 0 dB, and I move away, and I'm at 22 to 19. And if I go closer again, I'm at 0 dB again. If I move this way, well, the transmitter just stops, so I'm at 30. There it goes, it clicked back on. So you can kind of see, I mean, you're not gonna be able to see this, but you can use a W100RX to kind of help you, but pinpointing, you're going to definitely want the appropriate fox hunting antenna, which is going to be that loop, bi-directional, or a Yaggi, or the handheld radial. So that is the basics of fox hunting. Now, on the Bionics MF50, this is a great little fox. Again, it's expensive. Hopefully, fingers crossed, working to get a cheaper, more affordable fox built and sometime in the near future, because I really believe that this fox hunting is going to take off as a fun hobby, especially for like radio enthusiasts and people that are getting into the H4M and they want to be able to do something and like kind of learn as they go and not have to just like be overwhelmed with all that the H4M can do. This can be a simple little package that we can possibly get into to sell and do something to where these will be affordable, and you can just buy them with a kit with the H4M, or you just buy them separately. But in my opinion, spending $100 on this is kind of a little absurd. I would like to see these guys down to like, you know, 30, 40 bucks. I think that's more ideal. There's not a lot of technology that goes into these, and with the popularity of the ESP32 and other radio boards that can go attached to it, I believe that we can get into something that we can make one of those very cheap for somebody. So yeah, that is fox hunting. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Stay tuned for more videos coming out here shortly. We got a lot more to discuss in the coming week. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video.